against it is put that even into it, that was back in the 60s.
Into the tree?
No, the Heartland corner. Over there.
It's 9 o'clock.
It is.
Oh, I bet you.
Say the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda as presented.
I'll second this motion.
Derby and second Smith, approve minutes agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
How come I get it? What am I doing wrong here?
Oh, Terry, I don't think we did the
Cause you
phone.
gotta pick it up,
Oh,
right?
we didn't start the vote.
Oh. Yeah, but still, I should be able to dial.
Oh,
You work on your
Pick
end,
it
I'll
up
work on
7130, right? I press.
75:30.
Oh, is it
Or
7530?
is it 75?
It is, yeah.
You're out of practice.
Yeah, losing my mind. I was gone for a week. That worked better.
Never had that before. That's not a joke.
That's me. That's my
Oh,
ring.
it's going through there.
So you dial it in first. I like to hear the dial tone, so I hate to waste my time not knowing that's gonna work.
Please enter your participant or moderator code followed by the pound key. Please say your name followed by the pound key. You are the first participant in the conference.
right, thanks.
You're also IT.
She's everything.
In tune.
Like in
Yeah, Becky, this is Supervisors. Is Scott down there? I'm ready for him. Yep.
I get on the phone with the DOT.
Do number 3.
Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters. Must not be much.
No, I talked to Adam and Matt from Lahar this morning, and they are gonna get in touch with Colin for DD 89 and find out the size of pipe that Colin's recommending and where to start, and then they'll get on that. And they're going to give an estimate on how much dirt needs to be brought in for the other one. And it won't hurt any crops, which they wouldn't start till after the crops are out anyway, but at least there shouldn't be any damages that way.
If we'd have known this like 2 months ago, there was a whole bunch of dirt hauled away from the nature center,
Mm-hmm.
like
Sure was.
3 miles from there.
Right?
Mhm.
That would have been fantastic, yeah. So anyway, just an update for you.
Or we had a bunch of dirt needed to be hauled away from, what was that, D92? Up by Lake Mills there,
Mm-hmm.
where we did the ditch.
Well, that was Sandy, I don't know if we
Yeah,
want to
they
use
might
that
have
anyway.
wanted that.
Yeah,
Where did all it to then?
It went south, I know. I know Paul Charleston got maybe a load or so too.
yeah. Did you guys have anything?
Not that I know. Other than now would be a good time to see where the backups are on ditches and rivers, and since nothing is really flowing at all.
Yeah. Now we moved to open forum, I suppose.
These are some new hires from secondary roads, if you want to sign those.
Morning. Morning.
Well,
Looking at your new hires.
Yep, Logan starting on Monday. He's the first of the guys to get started.
What do you got for us?
Not a whole lot. Microsurfacing's still going on. They got done south of Thompson, and they're over by Pilot Knob today. We'll be there for probably 2 days.
We're just looking at them ahead of time, we're not even in there, sorry. We're not even on that yet. Go ahead, sorry, Scott.
Probably 2 days, maybe just one, over by Pilot Knob. The roads up the highway and then into town.
How many miles do they do a day about?
Well, he said the best case is 6 to 8 lane miles, but it's more like 5, I guess, in what I've been seeing. They've had some breakdowns. They blew a tire last Friday. They were short a truck, different things like that.
Does that come in dry and then it mixes there, or?
Yeah, so there's like, well, I'll call it a paving machine that stays out on the road, and then the tender trucks back up to it. It has mechanisms that kind of grab onto the axles, and they're live bottoms, so it empties the rock into the hopper, and then it pumps water and asphalt emulsion onto the paving machine. So there's 3 products it's bringing all the time, and mixes continuously in a pug mill underneath the truck. It's programmed to put so much of each component in at a certain rate, mixes, and then is distributed onto the road, and then they pull squeegees behind the paver to spread it out and put some texture on it. So we're not quite halfway done with micro yet.
What's the setup time on that?
Oh, I think, if you had a car accidentally drive on it after an hour on a good driving day, it wouldn't be too bad. But they're looking for more like 2 to 3 hours before they put full traffic on it. It takes probably a day before it, it has cement in it, so it performs almost more like concrete than it does hot mix asphalt. It kind of sets more than
It's a curing, rather.
Yeah, it's a curing process. If you look real close at it, it's got bubbles that are just kind of chemically, it's having a reaction. So there's air bubbles that are coming out as it cures. That's kind of different than concrete. It's different than anything else I've experienced, but I'd say it sets up more like concrete in the fact that even after a day, you could probably go out there with your heel and scuff it a little bit. So even after a day, it'll still continue to harden. And, you probably want to see a few days on it before you have semis coming out of the field and, turning continuously.
And the size of the aggregate they put in here is 3/8, or?
Yeah, it's 3/8 minus. It's pretty dirty actually compared to like a chip seal rock would be pretty
And that's
clean.
about what the thickness of the layer is, and
Yeah, if you look down real close, you see a lot of the aggregate sticks out, or you can kind of make it out. So the emulsion portion of it's thinner than the rock. So I'd say you probably call it 3/8, but by the time you take a snowplow and scrape off the little pointy heads that stick out, you probably wouldn't end up with that thick. Maybe more like 1/4 of an inch.
so the aggregate is limestone, or?
Yep, it's limestone.
Yeah.
Crushed limestone, real angular kind of mix. They got stockpiles at Sunnyside and Lake Mills in case you ever want to.
So it won't be as hard on our blades.
That's the idea. It seems that the state of Iowa is going toward limestone wherever it's available. the DOT's doing all limestone around here, except for the state where they're required to get a extra friction requirement. So I think it's the trend. Hopefully we're making a good decision on that.
So did we supply the limestone?
It's part of the contract, and it actually had to come from Ames. I tried my best to get local available aggregate, but there's a compatibility requirement between the stone and the asphalt emulsion. And when they sent in a sample from BMC, it wouldn't make a mix design. It had some sort of problem. And it's something to do with electromagnetic charge maybe, or
Sure.
catonic reaction, some
Yeah.
sort of
Makes sense.
properties of rocks you wouldn't normally think about.
So it'll absorb the
Stick
emulsion
together, I
better or
suppose.
whatever, or?
Something like that. I'm not the chemist, but the contractor will send off samples of the stone, and then they'll find the exact, sample of the emulsion that they're planning to use. They'll send it to a laboratory. I think it's where the emulsion is made, and they'll do a mixed design that says so much of this, so much of this, so much of this, and they'll do a bunch of testing on it to get the proper proportions figured out. You adjust each factor by so much until you get the best of all of it, and best performing mix. It's more than just a pour and guess. It's
It's not-
some
not a bag-
scientists
Not a
on
bag of
the
saccharine.
yeah
That's interesting.
yeah.
So we didn't haul from Ames, or we did haul from Ames?
They had it contract hauled from
They
Ames.
stockpile then, or?
Yep, they stockpile it, and then when they use it, they dump it through a sieve to make sure that they're not contaminating it with, rock from the yard or something like that that's below the pile.
Wow.
Ideally, it'd be on a concrete pad, but don't have that really available.
That adds a lot of expense to a project when you gotta factor in trucking all the way from Ames.
Yeah, that was what I was hoping to get away from, is, hauling 10 miles rather than,
100, right at 100 from here, I suppose.
yeah. So there's, microsurfacing contractors are used to using rock, the same rock on all projects, no matter where they go. So they knew that they had Ames rock that would meet specs, but I had requested they try and use BMC, and it didn't work out.
Well, you tried.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yep. And that's really all I had to talk about today.
Is the stop sign issue gonna be another day?
The request that we had come in.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about it today, but I told Paul that we would invite him to have the more formal conversation. But anyway, Paul Bartel sent me a request, and I forwarded that to you, that we remove 2 stop signs. These would be the stop signs on the road from Forest City to Pilot Knob. About halfway out, there are stop signs that stop both gravel traffic and paved road traffic, and that's unusual. And I think it was probably that way when it was all gravel before it was paved, and they just didn't change it. I think that would have been the proper time to change it, but it didn't happen. And so now I think the biggest concern is going to be what happens when we take those signs down and everybody's used to the way it was.
They put signs on, with the stop signs on the other 2 that says, or is it just 1 or 2?
Well, there's 2 others.
Okay, that cross traffic doesn't stop.
Yeah, we can. It's an option. We can put flags up.
Because that's what they do at South Broadway, up like past Twin Lakes, going to the interstate there. Because there's a bad
Sure, yep, I know where you're talking. Yep, they got
And they even have
blinking lights on the
beacon
stop sign.
lights, yeah.
And Worth County, they've got several of them that way.
Yeah, I would think it's something we could put up temporary, just for a few years or something while people adjust, but
Maybe we just move the stop signs to below the others, you got a double stop sign that really gets attention.
stop sign, yeah. that
I'm
reminds
sure
me.
engineering standards don't allow it.
Yeah, we
So it's
do,
a four-way stop right now?
yep. And, they want it to be a two-way stop, so just the gravel road approaches stop and the paved road goes through. And it makes sense what he's asking for, I think. I just wanna have a little time to look into it a little further and see if there's any.
Are you gonna communicate with Hancock on it then?
I probably should, since they have one of the approaches and the road is shared. But ultimately, I think it would be our board's approval,
Since we manage the road?
yeah. Hopefully I can find some sort of guidance on route stop sign removal that we can kind of follow.
We'd sure hate to have some horrific accident.
Oh, right, I mean, that's exactly what you
2
don't
weeks
want.
after we take them down.
If you got a intersection that's kind of inconvenient, but it's not dangerous, and so we don't wanna introduce danger just in the interest of convenience.
Of somebody not having to stop.
Taking the stop signs down and putting up, yield signs doesn't quite fit, but,
No, probably wouldn't help.
but that would still make you pay attention that if somebody pulls out in front of you from the stop sign that's used to you stopping, at least then you would be maybe slightly paying more attention.
How many people live on that road past those stop signs?
I don't know, is there a dozen houses out
That's
there?
what I was wondering, is it a dozen?
But it's a lot of traffic going to Pilot out that way.
Yeah.
I assume the paved road has more traffic.
Yeah, I don't have those numbers, but I assume it does too.
What's it save, 2 minutes? That's a bad gut feeling.
Taking a stop sign down,
Yes,
Especially since it's been there for
forever.
forever.
Yeah, I can look up to see if we have records of when it was put up in the first place too. Again, I haven't done any research on this yet, but
Sure, interesting.
we can do a little looking. So I guess I was just kind of looking for things to look into.
I have an aunt that was killed on an uncontrolled gravel road, and you take a stop sign down, I don't know, it just gives me a bad feeling.
But at least here you got 2 stop signs.
I know, but
That's
if you're
controlled.
used to
But
somebody's,
it's a paved road now.
I know,
Yeah,
but if you're
almost.
used to somebody stopping there, and
I can't ever remember seeing an intersection that has the paved road having to stop for a gravel road. Yeah,
Like you said, when they paved it, they should have done it then.
yeah,
It seemed like to me.
but they didn't,
I
and
mean,
everybody's used to it the other way.
it could also be that the people that are coming where the stop sign used to be are so used to the stop sign being there, they'll still stop.
That's true.
It's kinda like me, my kids tease me all the time. I pull
And that
up the railroad
actually could be
tracks.
a accident waiting to happen too, because somebody stops, because they've stopped at it for 40 years.
Gets rear-ended.
You know,
I pull up the railroad tracks and stop, because I had to do that when I was hauling placard loads or driving school bus, and Dad, what are you stopping for? Oh, it's just habit.
Then I brought up to him this morning about an issue where one of our blacktops merges onto 69 north of my place. Had several people complain about people pulling out there. They can't see around the curve. So
Is it because of
stop
the
sign,
trees or just
well, the stop
angle?
sign seems to be too far forward, close to where you enter. If you moved it back 100 feet, you can see around the curve.
Mm.
But when you're coming up to that curve, you look down the highway and then you can see it. If you look before you get to the stop sign. You're talking about the
Yeah,
stop
but
sign going
you
east?
start low, and there's trees in between, so you
Yeah.
can't see till you
Well-
get to the end.
When you get to where the gravel goes south there, if you look down the highway then, you, ahead of time, before you get to the stop sign, you know where there's coming.
I think you're talking about the south one, he's talking about the east one.
Oh, you're talking
I'm
about
one south. Yeah. Cause there's pine trees that block
Yeah.
view and
Does the county own that intersection, or is that state?
that's
or what
stated
is
in that.
Where they stockpile concrete and.
Yeah, it's
And
not
chairs.
much there, but I believe the DOT uses it as their own. I can look to see, but probably their ownership.
It used to be theirs anyway.
Yeah, but, you know, if tree removal is part of the solution there, that's something we can look into.
I think if it just gets moved back, you have a shot at seeing something to the other end of the curve.
Yeah, the stop bar is more of a instruction for the driver than the location of the stop sign. So we can kind of look into that too. The DOT does the striping.
And the angle, you almost
And
have.
it's their stop sign too, you know.
So if you want to actually have a good way to look at that stop sign where it is now, you have to pull into the other lane and somebody may be coming.
Yeah, it's not
I've been there.
it's not the way you design a road today.
Well, I suppose the alternative is put in a roundabout or three.
Probably the way that they would address that in most cases is take both legs and bring them together, shoot them into the intersection like Thompson does, you know, curves around and just comes in halfway into the curve. That's probably a safer option.
A lot of redoing.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for secondary roads?
Do you happen to stamp my guys'
Yes.
things?
They want it approved or
That's received, isn't it?
received or.
Probably just received because
Oh,
I'm just trying to get something official for the files, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Discussion was possible action, release of mortgage for Irish Hospital Apartments at Red House.
You don't have to stamp this out.
So this is what we addressed a few weeks back. As an official document for it. No, we're on 5. Unless you're interested in this.
Susan's just stamping stuff, so I don't know what you guys think.
You can pour ahead over here.
Okay. So we have that. We have that changed. I love you. That's for you and Kyla, and that's for your supervisors. Morning, Billy.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
It's an extra. What are you doing?
She hates me.
What are you doing?
He actually didn't do anything. It's hard to believe it's true.
Excuse me, why can't we all just get along?
Who are you, Roger?
He learned in kindergarten.
Where's Irish Hospital?
Oh, you signed it. I did
kind of.
Oh, did we make a
I was
motion?
gonna say, we better make a motion
I'll
to,
make a motion to approve the release of mortgage for Irish Hospital Apartments.
I'll second.
motion Derby and second Smith to approve the release of mortgage for Irish Hospital Apartments LLC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Discussion with possible action, this update information for news release.
So
So-
you put together some information here.
So I collected some information with the help of Jen and Daisy and my sidekick here. And, this is what we compiled. And, I guess we can make any changes you guys want, but here's our rough draft for.
So how this came about is I was getting a lot of questions from all over the county, you know, and just kind of wanting to clarify, and I wanted to make sure that we all released the same.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think we should do a couple of these, especially in this first year, just to keep people informed, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll probably want another, report like this come
Like November before the,
right before the end of the year.
November, December.
I hear on the dispatch, you'll get auto, dispatched as a paramedic, but then like up in Lake Mills, they have paramedics on staff, so they'll call back and say,
Cancel.
not needed. They have one, so that works out.
But the other morning, they auto dispatched us with Lake Mills and then found out they didn't have a crew, so we were already on the road,
Yeah.
so. There's times we get canceled, but at least we're on the way, and if we're canceled, then Spencer goes back to Price is Right, and if we, if we're needed, we're already on the way, so.
So I'm trying to figure out if this is if I was to read this in a newspaper.
Well, the newspapers can take this information and write their story however they want it. I mean, as long as it includes these facts, they may choose not to use them
Use all the-
numbers
yeah.
that were.
And that's fine,
And all of these numbers are in Winnebago County.
Yep.
Okay.
So, would you like to include your association or whatever it's called that are the 3 ambulances that, I don't know what you call that,
the Winnebago County EMS Association
you know, that has been
meeting and.
reestablished, resurrected?
See, and that, down in the bottom part here, that's what I was talking about. I didn't know if we wanted to confuse everybody with another association or board or whatever, and that's
Another
why I just
acronym.
said the 3 ambulance services.
There are a lot of people that remember that it existed
Okay.
when I talked to them,
Okay.
you know,
Do
but
you think it'd be better to have that at the end of the year when they
yeah,
have more?
it doesn't need
more
to,
Get a little more
Organization.
traction and
because you've only met twice again now.
2 or 3 times, something like that.
At the end of the year, then you're gonna be closer to, the money coming in from the state for that other part of it.
We'll have a little better handle on. I didn't know, that's the information I collected, so I didn't know if you guys needed more information or less information or what we were. We did July, because that's kind of when we were setting everything up, so it was before we started doing all the auto dispatching. And then August, for as far as call numbers go.
Maybe it could say that it's an enhancement or something to the existing ambulance services. I mean, as long as it still conveys that all three ambulance services have their own identity and
Yep, okay. I can try to add that in up top here somewhere, that it,
just that it's,
program dispatch. This program dispatch is an advanced, level provider at the same time as your local volunteer ambulance
I guess you do have that.
to enhance the healthcare.
Maybe you could even name them,
Okay.
up in there so that people feel like they're,
Being recognized. Yep, no, we can do that.
that makes sense.
Volunteer ambulance owners. This, how about if I go instead in
At the
where it
same
says
time-
this ensures that the highest level of care available is en route 15 or 5 to 15 minutes faster than prior. This program, how about if I say this,
To assist,
enhances
to enhance and assist.
and assist BC LM FC ambulances.
I think just mostly to be able to give them recognition that they're,
And yeah, no, yeah,
and I guess it kind of does because you list them.
no, I like the idea of putting their names in there though. Get them, so everyone knows where the ambulance are coming from.
The only other thing I can see is like in the first sentence. Do we want to include in that sentence that you started managing the county-funded auto ALS response program on July 1st, 2023 through a 28E agreement between FCAS, City of Forest City, and the county?
How about if I say FCAS, or Forest City Ambulance, in cooperation with Winnebago County and the City of Forest City started managing, does that make sense?
Well, I just want to make sure they know that there's good oversight on the
Okay.
funds.
Yep, no, yeah, I see that,
That's where the 28E agreement kind of
We could even
states that.
include with the news release, it could have the 28E.
That's a lot of information.
Yeah, it's,
Too much.
we don't want to publish that. I mean, it's available at the
yeah, it's
office.
available, but yeah, I can, let's see, Forest City Ambulance Service started,
Force City was entered into a 2080 agreement
there you go. Forest City Ambulance Service,
I know it might be broader.
yep, see? Entered into 28E with Winnebago County and City. Entered into a 28E with Winnebago County and the City of Forest City managing the county-funded ALS response program. How does that sound?
Better.
Like that? Okay. Tonight we have a meeting too, I can have Deanne proofread it and then email it to,
Yeah, if there's anything that clarifies things
Yeah.
a little better, it would be probably good. I mean, this is, if we're gonna send this out to papers and the KOW, and they'll put their own spin on it, I'm sure.
yeah, and they're more than encourage them to give me a call if you want us to include like phone numbers to call for clarification if they want, or,
We'll put it on, can we put it on our website as well then too?
but do you want us to add that to the press release?
The phone numbers?
Yeah, like phone
Only if
numbers.
you want yours on there.
Wow, I don't.
Mine's public enough the way it is.
I don't think a personal number would be the way to go, but the service number
You're
maybe.
doing that, services number?
Yeah.
Okay, you want us to throw Carla, the auditor's number on there?
They know my number.
They know our number.
But do you want me to add it with any questions, any
No,
contact?
they'll call the
No.
courthouse. If they can't get the information, they'll call the courthouse.
So, yeah.
Talk to Drainage Chris, she'll set you straight.
So you have, what meeting do you have tomorrow night?
Tonight we
Or
have,
tonight,
the general Forest City ambulance meeting.
Okay, so I don't know who's gonna put this all out, how we're gonna get it all out to them, but each of the ambulance services.
Once you get it done, we can send it out to all the media.
Okay.
I'll
I'm
have-
surprised they're not here today.
Yeah.
Me too.
Knock at the door down, picketing up.
So, and also the advisory council.
Yeah, they meet, don't they meet next week?
Is there a meeting set up?
The advisory council, I wanna say, where are we at? We're in September.
Third,
Was it the end of June that was the last meeting?
I
there,
wanna
I
say,
think there was discussion about having it in
The end
September,
of
so.
September?
I wanna say they meet on Wednesday. I think the
Third
advisory, yeah, I think advisory council meets on Wednesday, the 20th, potentially, right? I think so. I got too many dates in my head.
Yeah, this would be good information for them to review.
Yeah, no. I'll add them two things. I'll have Audrey and Deanne read through it. And the rest of the board read through it tonight at the meeting. But I'll add them two statements in there. And then I'll add contact Forest City Ambulance if you have any questions.
It's just that there's been some misinformation out there that's,
Well, I think it's, I mean, we kept pushing information to get it passed down their throat. And I think we need to keep them informed after too.
that'd be great.
Because I've had a lot of people question and ask, and how's it going, and where you at, and, we're hoping to be in the hiring process by the time we should release the next one, so, we got the bylaws from the county association sent up to Kelsey. I seen she sent them back with her suggestions for the county association. We were working on, we're gonna bring the posting to the next county association, the job posting, to try to get that posted. We gotta get someone else's approval on, wanna run it by her for a posting.
So are people asking about how many people are going to be
Employed or hired?
hired, and what their credentials were gonna be? Because that's another question that people have been.
I guess I haven't gotten a lot of those questions. A couple people asked. They didn't understand that there was gonna be, some of the citizens that I talked to didn't understand about us employing someone sitting at the physical station. I will say that especially Buffalo Center and, has been very thankful for Adrian sitting up there. I've heard a lot of thank you, that was really nice having Adrian here today, and, Lake Mills has been thankful too. I do know one day was a very lucky day that we had Adrian sitting up there because there's staffing issues during the day now. We ended up with a fairly significant car accident out by Bryceland, and we ended up with a CPR in progress in Lake Mills, so that was a good day to have, without Adrian having been up there, staff, they would have been waiting for us from Forest City, so. That was,
It makes a bad day manageable.
yeah, it makes a bad day better, and, it's that 5-minute window waiting for an ambulance to show up seems like about a half hour, so when it's actually a half hour, it's gotta seem about like 6 hours. So, I was happy, and then it just so happened, the main medic was out, and when the CPR in progress went out, I was actually driving a repaired ambulance by R-74 and Highway 9 on the way home from Clear Lake, so I spun around on Highway 9 and headed
Wow.
up, so I was only 7 miles from town too, so. Kinda weird how
You
sometimes
never
it's,
know where you're gonna be.
well, it's kinda weird how sometimes it's always the right place, right, you know, like, it just happens, because then later in the night, after EMT class that night, all three of us were in an ambulance. We had 2 medics in 2 different Forest City trucks, and then I ended up going to Buffalo Center.
10 calls that day?
Yeah, there was, I think, 10 911s throughout the day, so. And that's where there's a lot of fluctuation in the budget from month to month, you know, $5,000 difference is, sometimes it's just a couple busy days, you know, July we had the fair and we had, you know, stuff going on there and we were busy during that time frame, so. Doesn't take long to add a little overtime to change the outcome by 5,000. What do you think, boss? You like it? Does it clarify things for people, you think, or would you like to see anything added to it?
Not really.
I think the only thing that I have to say is when it says county,
Mhm.
you know, if it states Winnebago County, you know, I think that a lot of people are wanting it to be, you know, they want to know that it's managed by Winnebago County.
Yeah. What?
That I talked to.
Yep. So, but,
Just any verbiage.
oh,
in
okay,
there,
where it says county, okay, now I get you. Yep,
that sort of thing, you know, just to give it a,
okay. Yeah, wherever I say the county, turn it into Winnebago County. Okay.
I feel like that makes
Nope.
more sense.
Yep,
you
that
know,
makes a lot of sense.
Because there are people, and you know this, that have a little knee-jerk reaction to the very first line of Forest City Ambulance
Nope,
Service.
all right.
I don't.
No.
I have high hopes for it.
And I don't know if there's a better way to flip that statement where Winnebago County has engaged with.
Yeah, we can do that.
Forest City.
Yep.
Since it's gonna be our press release, it might start better with Winnebago County.
Yeah, I was feeling the same thing.
Yep, nope, that works.
Easy fix.
Otherwise, I think it's
Yeah, that's a
informational and
A lot of good information.
You guys got any questions about what's going on or the system or what we're doing or? So what we've done so far is, you know, we've been doing the auto dispatch thing, which has been going fairly well, but like Terry said, there's times where we're canceled, which is fine. Like that was,
It's great.
knowing all along that in my mind, that was gonna happen. It was just getting that help rolling. In the association meeting, we've decided that we're going to, so we ran into a little snafu with the billing. And personnel wise and with rules, there either has to be a financial exchange to put a paramedic on board an ambulance and be able to bill for it, or they have to become a member of every ambulance service and be on everyone's roster and write the actual report instead of the intercept report. So what we agreed in the association meeting is we're gonna take, Forest City's going to bill them $20 a call. Because there's no rule on the dollar amount that has to be exchanged, there just has to be a financial exchange. So we're gonna bill them $20 and then put it in the fuel expense budget. So everyone, the 3 ambulances agreed on that at the association meeting. So we're working on getting that up and running. We have our billing company's actually flying out to meet with us next Wednesday, the 20th. So we'll get everything finalized 100% with that. Like I said, the next meeting, our goal is to get the postings for the jobs, the EMT jobs. Because currently what we're doing is we're running Adrian 48 hours a week, giving him 8 hours of overtime like the medics. And that got him 2 shifts a week in Lake Mills and 1 shift a week in Buffalo Center and Forest City. So it's working in 4 shifts. Worked out well. The other day was Labor Day. Labor Day he worked, and Lake Mills, because he didn't have a crew, and, you know, so he's willing to pick up holidays and help out, so it's, I think, going well. We're getting him in the swing of life, you know, finding projects for him to work on. I know, I can't speak for Lake Mills, but I know Buffalo Center, they've had a couple different projects and getting the trucks organized and everything.
Have you talked any more about the central ordering?
We have a little bit. We're working on little plans here and there on how we're gonna roll it out, but we haven't come up with anything set in stone yet. We've been trying to get more focused on just getting the listings and everything rolling and getting everything off and flying. So we're working on that. We'll get that. I'm hoping to have that up and running by July of 24, the centralized ordering. That's because that's going to be a pretty big undertaking to make it go live, but we'll get her. We'll get her. That's
Do
her.
we have that, or anybody that's taking the classes right now? Or is there
Currently for
potential?
city, we've got 6 people, including Emily here.
Yeah, Emily.
I know, right?
Oh,
T-minus 2.5 months and we're there.
okay.
Currently for city, we've got 6 people. We're putting through class, and Lake Mills has 1. And then there's just a resident from Forest City that is taking the class. And as soon as she's able to get a driver's license, has an interest on joining Forest City. So right now she just doesn't have a driver's license. She's never had it. So she's interested in exploring the emergency medicine. She's doing really well in class. I'm really surprised at how engaged she is in class with not having any background. So yeah, we got the class of 8 kicked off. 3 weeks ago now? Yeah, co-teacher. Spencer's co-teaching it. I have had a few talks with NIAC about an EMR class. I see there is an EMR class, and starting in December? No, starting relatively soon here over in Lakota. Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, I think through the December or January.
Maybe January. We had a little conversation with a few fire departments about hosting EMR class in December-ish up in Thompson. We haven't gotten anything finalized with that yet, just time and everything. We did bring up, the Forest City Ambulance Board met on Sunday, and
December 4th.
with the, what was that?
December 4th.
December 4th is when the Lakota class starts. With the budget, what it was, because we have interest from a paramedic for to add a 4th full-time paramedic. But after we discussed a lot with the ambulance, we're wondering if maybe we shouldn't stick with just filling it with part-time until we kind of get a feel for the budget. Because currently, if you average out our budget, which some of this is self-funding expense from health insurance claims. But if you average out budget, you know, we're about 2,500 to 3,000 on average over budget for the paramedic portion of the 250,000. So we decided maybe we're just going to try to staff. We're going to try to bring the staffing up with the part-timers to make it simulate having 4 full-time people. So having that 2 days where there's
So will that eliminate overtime then? Will help?
no, because currently the way the pay is everyone, all the full-time medics are scheduled 8 hours overtime because it's 48 hours of overtime every pay period. So for example, I make $19.25 an hour. But when you add in my 8 hours of scheduled overtime, then I average like $20.88 or something like that an hour. So that was kind of figured in when we figured our pay scale to go to the 24-hour paid, was when you average in your 8 hours of scheduled overtime, it brought us more up to the median pay. So I know the overtime word is, but it's actually budgeted and kind of controlled, that we use that when we did pay raises and stuff, this last go around. The goal was to get, to start with 2 12-hour shifts of a staff medic in Thompson by adding that fourth full-time person, or adding the 24 hours covered by a PRN, is to get 2 12-hour shifts of a paramedic sitting in Thompson. And we did start conversation. We delivered an AED to the Thompson Fire Department. So the Thompson Fire Department is actually responding to CPR in progress calls, or what sounds like could potentially be CPR in progress calls. Just to get an AED there and get CPR and
Is there one in Scarville yet? Is there one in Scarville?
I don't know if we have one in the Scarville Fire Department or not.
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know. I don't remember if we put one up there or not. But one thing that we are talking about doing is a fundraiser in February to help with selling T-shirts. We're talking about doing. The Forest City Ambulance Board had an interest in making our gray crew shirts into breast cancer awareness shirts, and then selling a similar shirt to our crew shirt to, like, you guys or just citizens, to raise money to have a fund available for people fighting cancer in the community, where we could just give them like $100 for gas or food, or they could people could make recommendations. But we're looking at doing the same thing with Heart Month in February, where we do sell T-shirts that are similar to the crew shirt for CPR awareness, because it's not, or Heart Month is February, and then using that money for community outreach programs like buying an AED for the Scarville Fire Department, or community CPR, free community CPR, or that kind of stuff. So hopefully with that little program, if that takes off, we can get something up in Scarville. But an AED's runs, I just got a quote for one in Buffalo Center, and what is an AED up to now? $2,300 or $2,400 for an AED. When we bought the one, West Prairie Church gave us a $1,000 donation, and then we got a nice donation from a family from a CPR save from out of state. We used that money to buy. West Prairie Church showed an interest, and we bought a AED for the West Prairie Church, and that was $1,700 about 9 months ago. And then we got a quote for Buffalo Center to have one at the shed, and it was like $2,400 or something, because they got a grant. So.
Well, you might consider, if you're having shirts or advertising in that way done, that it also is inclusive of, all of the ambulance services or Winnebago County,
Yep.
So again, it doesn't.
We can add.
It doesn't just feel like it's.
Yep. No, it's, I know I mentioned something in Buffalo Center at the meeting. It's easy for me to mention stuff in Buffalo Center because I'm on the service. And they said, yeah, if it goes well for you guys, we'd have an interest in doing the same thing. So we're kind of the pilot program, I think. So
Might be nice if it was unified, Yeah. Well, I think if you look at this some more tonight or whatever, and just,
we'll add them changes, and I'll have a few people proofread it down at the garage. I'll get this signed, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thanks for your help on this.
thanks for coming. Good luck, Emily. Is it going good?
Well, good luck. She's got medications readily available for me. Yeah, you guys got any other questions? All righty.
Good, thanks, guys.
We'll get her email out to you when we get the changes made after tonight.
When's your next group one, the countywide one?
Tuesday the 19th. You want us to run it by all of them and
I don't know, I just think it's important that
Because
the
that'll,
public knows that Lake Mills is good with this, Buffalo Center is good with this, because that's kind of the vibe that's coming back, is like they're being shortchanged somehow.
it's yours.
Yeah, that's me.
Do you want, what could we add to that to make it,
With somehow if it's just, with, I don't know how to say it, with the input and the blessing of all of the three, this is how we're proceeding and that everybody feels good
And
about it.
coordination.
Yeah, the coordination. That it's not just being
push down?
told to them that this is how this is, because they've been involved through the whole thing, all the ambulances have. I don't know how that would be, but,
Or should Winnebago County entered it?
and maybe I'm the only one that's hearing some of this,
So maybe we need to add something in the bottom paragraph about the 3 ambulance services within
Have been working together
the
to,
county are currently working collectively.
yeah, collectively on, deciding the path of these things too. I'm sure you'll come up with some.
Collectively on hiring more EMTs to provide more relief and coverage to at the local service level. And operation of the system. How's that sound?
Yep, I think you're getting there.
That'll work. We'll go back and make them changes and, maybe what I'll do after our meeting tonight, maybe I'll include, just kind of a email to you three, Carla, and then, put Beth and Paul on the email and ask if this is a press release that we're wanting to release. Is there any changes or anything you would like to add to it? How's that sound?
Perfect,
Okay, that's what we'll do.
thank you.
Should we include Chris too?
Yes.
She's mad at me. Why CC her in?
whatever.
All righty, thank you guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
Information is power.
Move on to 7.
See for approval, auditors transfers.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's transfers.
Well, the reason I ask is Stryker is. So I will, I'll respond to Stryker.
I'll second the motion.
Smith and a second Kirby to approve the auditor's transfers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consider for approval County claims.
We'll just throw a power in there. Going from mayor to what's that position? Oh, you want to be the state auditor? Yeah. What's the next gas here? Okay, you don't want First City taking $18,000 for the $5,000 rate.
So just let me, yeah, so. How will it be out?
Okay, I just wanted to get something.
You should go back to school to be an engineer.
It's interesting.
Oh,
Seems like the architects need more money.
The architects do make more.
They just kind of bill it in. Design through billing. Bill through design. I'll make a motion to approve the county claims.
I'll second.
Motion Derby and a second Smith to approve the county claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Consider for approval payroll claims.
I'll make the motion to approve the payroll claims.
I'll second.
Derby, no, motion's from Smith and a second from Derby to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Stand adjourned.